Nací en los Estados, pero viví en Costa Rica por 1 año y después aquí por 13 años. Pero he olvidado mucho de mi español, por eso voy a hablar en inglés, okay? I'm going to talk with you about 20 things that I've learned about entrepreneurship. There's probably 1,000 things I haven't learned since growing up in San Miguel Acatán, above Huehuetenango. That's where I grew up. It's been an interesting journey, and I'm just going to give you 20 very quick lessons about entrepreneurship. If you're running your own business now or you're thinking about starting a firm, hopefully these will help you. All right? The first one, and there's 20 of these, is to not follow the advice that a lot of people are giving you, where they're saying, just follow your heart and money will come. There's a lot of people following their heart without much success. Ignore your heart at the beginning. You may need a job that makes money, that impacts your clients, and that gathers a great group of people to create this powerful culture around you. If you do those three things, you try to concentrate on a business that makes money, that changes the lives of your clients, and that is good for the people who work with you, your heart will be fine. Don't get that backwards. Second, discipline is far more important than intelligence, education. Luck is good, luck is great, but if you give me two people, one of them who is really smart and very connected and has a fantastic education at a top university, and you give me somebody over here who isn't any of those things, but is very, very disciplined, I'll put my money on this person. I went to a school that was so embarrassing, I won't even tell people what it is on my LinkedIn profile. It doesn't matter. Discipline is far more important than any of those things. That's the second lesson. The third lesson is that you don't have to stick with your career or with the business that you're starting forever. When I was a little boy, and I still have this file, I started this Microsoft Word list of things that I thought I might want to do when I grew up. And I think there are 19 things in there. Some of them are crazy. Like one of them was, I wanted to be a talk radio host or something. And then there's lots of other things. I wanted to be a motorcycle racer. And really, I just picked one, and it wasn't the most exciting. And I'm going to do my best. And, well, I'm old now, as you can see, so I don't have much more time to change careers. But you folks, you can pick a different career. What it means is that you don't have to run your business, you don't have to start your entrepreneurial exercise and hang on to it really, really carefully because you're afraid of losing it. No, be courageous. Make big moonshot choices. And if it doesn't work out, you can try something else. 20 years ago, people would have a career and they had the same career all of their lives. It's not that way anymore. You can have 3 or 4 careers. When you think about what happens in your life, you're sitting here looking forward and thinking, okay, what am I going to do next? And then next, and then next. Life doesn't work that way. You can only make sense of your life when you look backwards and you see the connections between the dots. And so the way to think about this is when opportunities come your way, and almost all of them are accidental, see what you can do with it. You can't plan all this in advance. Just be disciplined, work hard. Something will pop up and you'll say, oh, maybe that'll take my life in a slightly different direction. Or maybe this will do. Take advantage of those weird opportunities. All of the times that I've been referenced in publications or whatever, none of those I've looked for. They've just happened. They just happen to be in the right place at the right time. So don't worry about planning your life specifically. It'll happen for you, and you'll be able to make sense of it when you look backwards. This is a quote from Steve Jobs. The fifth is this. When you're starting in business, you have to say yes all the time. And some of those opportunities and clients that you say yes to are really great. Some of them you make a lot of money. Sometimes you make a huge difference in a client's life. Other times it turns out like this is a stupid client. This didn't do anything for me. And you slowly begin to see the patterns about what should happen next. Really successful businesses and people get to where they are by saying yes, 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 yes all the time, but they never get to their potential unless at some point they switch that and they start saying no, 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 yes. Every once in a while they say yes. In the early phase of your business, you're saying yes. You've got what got you to that place won't take you to the next place. And that's where saying no a lot makes a difference. Now, as you're choosier, as you make choices between all the opportunities that you have, the most successful entrepreneurs are going to have a very narrow, specific thing that they do. It's an exercise in irrelevance, honestly, because most of the clients out there are not going to see the reason why they should work with you. But a few clients will say, that's exactly what I'm looking for, right? In our world, everything is so much more complicated. You can't be a master of all of these things. You have to be a very specific expert. But what should your personal life look like? Your personal life shouldn't be that way at all. Your personal life should be all over the place. And that personal life where you're experiencing lots of things and you're curious about all the things you can learn, that is what informs this narrow expertise so that you're not just a weird nerd that doesn't understand what's happening outside in the world, right? And the more crazy your personal life is, the better, because you learn so many things. I enjoy photography and woodworking and motorcycles. And if your business is run well, then you still have a lot of time to do things outside of work. And if your business is run well, it's delivering enough money for you to be able to afford some of those hobbies. Seventh, don't believe what people tell you that a business isn't successful unless it's growing. Growth isn't bad. Growth isn't good. Growth just is. It's a choice. And if you're running a business because you've started it and now you find yourself running the business, and if you like doing the work yourself, then growing is a mistake. Because when you grow, you're simply having to do lots of other things that you never had much training for. Like when you were a little boy or a little girl, you didn't dream one day of waking up and managing people or giving them an employee review, right? No, you dreamed about something else, but now you're running this firm that's bigger that requires other things of you. So just decide what you want to do and don't listen to other people. Maybe you run a very successful two-person business, or maybe you run a business with 200 people. Just make the choices that fit what you want to do more than anything else. Now, 8. And there's 20 of these, okay? Hopefully I'll have enough time to get through all of them. Your job as a leader is to make decisions. It's to make decisions, and I mean a lot of decisions. If you're sitting here waiting as a business leader for the fog to lift before you make a decision, you're waiting too long. The world that comes at you is very complicated, and it's not always clear what the right decision is. But your job as a leader is to make a decision with that switch. And you have to make lots of them, and some of them will be wrong. And that's okay. You can just correct them. It's a lot more dangerous to wait for clarity and make few decisions that you think are perfect. That's a lot more dangerous than making lots of decisions that are good enough and you can correct the ones that aren't. In this process of making decisions, you're balancing all kinds of priorities. And this is the role of a leader that nobody else can really effectively do. You're running a business with employees, and there's something that a specific employee wants of you, but that's not necessarily what's in the best interest of the business, right? Or maybe you've decided that you want to make this much profit this year, but something has come up that has hindered that. And are you willing to live with less profit for a period of time? Or you're very, very generous with your clients, doing whatever they need, and then at some point you just have to put your foot down because it's impinging on your personal life. There's lots of those tensions that can't be resolved, and it's your job as a leader to just take those tensions and do the best you can and live with them without trying to resolve them. In this process of making all kinds of decisions, you have to understand yourself first. Everybody has a different personality. My personality is such that there's two things that really piss me off. One is when I feel out of control, like somebody else is making decisions for me, or when I feel like somebody else is taking advantage of me. So when I feel the anger rising and kind of the red in my face, I can say to myself, David, you're overreacting. Calm down a little bit. However you think, however you act is different. You have to understand yourself before you can be a great leader in this world. And one more advice on psychology, and then I'll leave this alone. But it's lonely running a firm, and there will be times when you're angry at things. Recognize that when you are angry, usually it's masking hurt, and you just need to grow up and get over that. Your employees don't hate you. Well, there may be some that do. Most of them don't hate you. Your competitors aren't out to get you. They probably don't even think about you all that much, right? Just focus on doing the right thing and recognize that your own anger is probably hurt and other people's anger is also hurt. About 5 years ago, I was itching for a photography adventure. I go on those by myself a lot. And I thought, okay, I have an idea. I flew to San Diego from Nashville, where I live, and I rented a car and I drove into Mexico. And I drove along the southern side of the border between the U.S. and Mexico. I was looking for interesting, what do you call it? Where people paint on walls, whatever that is. And I came across this gate. It looked a little bit like this. It was part of the wall. And it said, empires crumble from within. And I thought that was so interesting. It's like our problems in the United States are not because of people sliding through gaps in a wall. Our problem in the United States is because we're not leading very well. You can't blame your competitors, the economy, your employees, and so on. If your business fails, it might not be because of your fault, but make sure it isn't. Make sure that you're taking responsibility for entrepreneurship and the health of your company. And your job as a leader is to do the things that other people that work for you won't or can't do. If the things that you're doing every day are things that your employees could do instead of you, then you're not doing what you should as a leader. Your job as a leader is to manage the financial performance of your firm, to make sure that there's always enough new business, to shape the culture of the people that work for you. That word I was trying to think of is graffiti, by the way, so plug that back. All right, 14. Now, if everybody loves you, you're not doing your job. There's something about leadership that requires you to have a bigger, broader, higher perspective. And there are some things that you're going to have to do that look evil. You know, like before you take a flight, they explain that if all of the oxygen masks drop down, you should put your own mask on first before you put the mask on your child. That looks evil, it looks mean, it looks selfish, but that's really what should happen. There are lots of those decisions in leadership that are going to make some people mad. What you should care about is what people think about you years later, after they have more perspective and they put it all in place. Fifth, so you start a business. Some of you are running businesses now. Others are sitting here wondering, you came here thinking you should start a business, and now I've discouraged you from that idea, maybe. But you're sitting here thinking, if you haven't started a business already, I'd like to start my own business because I'd like to make more money I'd like to control the sorts of clients I work with. I want to work with certain people. I don't want to work as hard. And then you wake up one day and you just stop and think, okay, how am I doing? I'm making less money. I'm working more hours. I have this client I hate. Run a successful business and then just pulling that money part of it out. What do you do with the money that you make in a successful business? Don't think primarily of buying things. Think of the primary benefit of running a successful business is that it gives you options. You can buy some of your time back. You can have choices about who you work with and who you hire. Running a business is primarily about personal freedom and providing freedom to other people. It's not so much about getting rich, it's about having more control over your life. I love that perspective of business. In whatever business you start, you need to have a point of view. I should be able to talk with you and ask you some very incisive questions, and you should be able to answer those questions very quickly. So you are a sales trainer, or you are an IT person, or you provide whatever it is, training for something. You should be able to tell me very clearly what your distinct point of view is on those things. You should have clarity. You should have a perspective on things. And the best way to get that perspective is to write a lot. So if you go back to your educational days, I would urge you to, the most important thing you could pull from all of that experience is to write out your perspective. It doesn't have to be a book. It could just be an article. It could be something that nobody else even reads. It could be something on a napkin. But write out your unique perspective and then let that control the decisions that you make. I'm old, as you can see from this gray beard, and something surprising has happened around entrepreneurship for me. I used to think I had all the answers. Now, I've redistributed that certainty. I believe fewer things, but I believe those things much more deeply. So as you encounter new information or technology or whatever, always be curious and welcome those things into your life and let it shape who you are and how you think and how you treat people, and be open to learning. Don't have arguments with people. Have discussions where all you care about is surfacing the truth. Now, this is why I'm not a motivational speaker, because remember that you are 2 big mistakes away from homelessness. So picture that in your life. Could you be homeless and be okay? I could. I'm writing a book right now called Nashville Falling. It's about a consultant that's very successful who becomes homeless. I'm hoping that the first part of the book is true and the second part is fiction, but I don't know yet. I want to be courageous about how I run my life. I don't want to be so cautious that I'm terrified of any big mistake I make. No, not. It's just the opposite. Because every one of us, me and you, we are high-performing, slightly broken humans. That's who all of us are. I struggle with mental issues, with depression at times. I've written about that. You struggle with something, whatever that is. We're all slightly broken, high-performing. The whole world is that way. Just accept that. And finally, realize that your biggest impact will be on family, friends, the people you work with. 10 years from now, nobody will remember that they were a client of yours. But 10 years from now, everybody will remember how good of a manager you were, how good of a friend you were, right? This business stuff is on the side. It's really more about focusing on who you are as a person. Thank you for having me.